Hi, everyone. I'm Elaine Quijano. President Trump will meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong Un in the coming months. The announcement came Thursday night, not from the press secretary or the president himself, but from a South Korean official outside the White House. Here's the statement.
I told President Trump that in our meeting, North Korean leader Kim Jong Un said he is committed to denuclearization. Kim pledged that North Korea will refrain from any further nuclear or missile tests. He understands that the routine joint military exercises between the Republic of Korea and the United States must continue. And he expressed his eagerness to meet President Trump as soon as possible. President Trump appreciated the briefing and said he would meet Kim Jong Un by May.
Earlier, I spoke with Isaac Stone-Fish. He's a senior fellow at the Asia Society.
It's stunning news. I'm almost speechless after hearing that. And it did seem like he said that Trump had agreed to meet before May. So they took the very rare step of putting a timetable on a summit that is going to involve so much preparation. So I think the model for this could potentially be Nixon's visit to China. That's the big thing that I think comes a lot to mind. That was laid out years in advance. Kissinger took a lot of secret trips to Beijing. We don't know if U.S. cabinet members have been to North Korea to plan this. It's certainly possible that will come out. Another possibility is like a summit that was done in Reykjavik during the Cold War between U.S. and Russian leaders. So it's possible they choose a neutral third country to host this meeting. So
let me ask you, this is what we heard from the South Korean National Security Advisor. He said this of President Trump, quote, his leadership along with international diplomacy brought us to this juncture. So certainly it would seem the Trump administration and President Trump himself is deserving of some credit here.
I think that, yes, I think that's a fair thing to say. And I think the situation is such that, I don't know, it seems like something is going to work out between the U.S. and North Korea, and they're actually getting these issues down at the table. I mean, I think it's going to be really fascinating when some of these cables get declassified, and especially on the North Korean side, to figure out what changed Kim Jong Un's mind. What brought him to this point. It's very hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, that would be one of the many $64,000 questions, I think, at this point. By the way, by my rough count here, May is just about 53 days away. Not much time to lay the groundwork for such a high-stakes meeting.
And it's certainly possible that it gets pushed back, that the North Korean side gets cold feet, the U.S. side gets cold feet. I think the real key for this is, what are the North Koreans going to ask for? They're going to probably want a peace treaty, but in a lot of their negotiations on and before summits, they want money. They want cash. So it's very possible that this will come with a price tag of hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars.
All right, I want to bring into this conversation our Jackie Alemany. She is a White House reporter for CBS News who was there during the announcement. Jackie, are you with us?
Hey, Elaine, how are you guys?
I'm well. So tell us what it is that led up to this moment and what we just heard, or rather, as we've been calling it, stunning announcement tonight.
Right. This was really an extraordinary, unprecedented series of events that we just witnessed here today at the White House. As you just saw, the National Security Advisor from South Korea came out to the White House stakeout and made an impromptu announcement to White House reporters that North Korean dictator Kim Jong Un was willing to denuclearize, stop his long-range missile testing, and extended an unprecedented invitation to President Donald Trump to come and meet with him face-to-face in Pyongyang. And President Trump himself has agreed to come and meet with the North Korean dictator before May. So this was a stunning series of events. At 5 p.m., the president himself appeared in the White House briefing room, popped his head in for the first time ever, and told reporters that there would be a huge announcement at 7 p.m. And you just saw that announcement.
And Jackie, I wonder, was there any kind of heads up besides the president coming into the briefing room? Because the message of the day up until this point had been thought to have been, at least the White House's message of the day was perceived to have been about tariffs. The president making that announcement about tariffs, surrounding himself with steel workers. Was there any inkling that this was perhaps in the works?
Well, this has been on the back burner all week. The South Korean envoy went to Pyongyang earlier in the week, and there was news that came out of it that the North Koreans had expressed a willingness to come to the table and speak with the United States to discuss denuclearization. But the president himself took a more measured tone than he's ever taken before, far different than his rocket man rhetoric, and said that the U.S. was approaching these talks very delicately with guarded optimism. We had numerous White House background briefings throughout the week that North Korea has a 27-year history that's given the U.S. the right to be skeptical of the North Koreans and the promises they've made, which is telling during negotiations, making certain promises, but then under the radar back at home actually continuing to develop their nuclear program. But we knew that the South Korean envoys had arrived in D.C. today and were briefing the U.S. on the deliberations that they had in Pyongyang. But I think that everyone was fairly shocked today to hear that that Kim Jong Un had extended an invitation directly to the president and that the president had accepted that invitation.
And Jackie, what should we make of the fact that the president chose to sort of tease this and not make the announcement himself? And we saw Sarah Huckabee Sanders in the background there, not appearing with the South Korean National Security Advisor, to have this happening not in the briefing room, not within the actual confines of the West Wing, but out on the driveway there.
Yes, it definitely was a chaotic scene. I think White House officials themselves didn't even know that this was coming. People were fairly shocked when White House staffers were shocked when they found out that the president popped in and teased the announcement himself. One White House official texted me 2 words, a doozy. But I think, after the president teased this himself, they had to get something out there, and the South Koreans were willing to come out themselves.
All right, CBS News White House reporter Jackie Alemany. Thank you so much, Jackie. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Elaine.